Hey, I'm a little late this morning. Traffic was not what I expected it to be. but oh, let me put my headphones on. What's up, G? What's going on, y'all? Sorry. There we go. Try. If y'all seen the previous shows, y'all know that I stay in the area with terrible, terrible traffic. I mean, terrible connection. So I have to drive up to do this stuff, man. What's going on, Reno? I'm starting to see some of y'all messages. Another beautiful Friday. Something good. Man. We might as well jump right into it. Turn my guys off. What's going on, Kristen? Yes, I do listen to Queen. What's going on, Ryan? There's some more videos coming out today too. Like it's like 14 videos on the program. Whew. Okay. Man. Oh yeah, them Cowboys playing good right now. Yeah, I knew they would eventually get it together, man. Too much talent not to. Yeah, just keep on pushing down the stretch and they'd be all right. Oh man, y'all forgive me too. I think one of them kids got me. I got somewhat of a sore throat, but it's cool. But oh man, here we go. Here we go. Damn Packers. Packers looking good though. Packers looking good. This is the stretch of the season where you can tell who's a real team and who ain't. Teams are starting to lock in. You know, every year I think like Arizona last year, them dudes started off super hot last year. Then the second half of the season they had a losing record and fell all the way off. Man, what's going on, Dom? Well, all the way from Guam. Much love, brother. Yeah, I knew a couple guys out there in Guam. I think they was at the military base out there. Wonder what happened to those guys. I ain't talked to them in a couple years, but they was into bullies out there too. Whew, okay. Well, last week, you know what I'm saying, we got into a talk about the XL. What's going on? What is that? Oh, that's okay. Braden's bullies. What's going on, Tim? Good morning, man. See, I think we can start with the XL because when I go into Larry Durant, there's no telling how long I'll be there. But the reason I did say that we had to talk about Larry Durant is because most people don't know who Larry Durant is. If you newer to the bullies, you probably wouldn't know who Larry Durant is. But when I tell y'all, it's sort of deep. You know, it's sort of deep that man, man, we ain't worried about no damn Steelers. The Browns just got to learn. The Browns just got to learn to take games serious and be organized. I think that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, it's a tough stretch right now. Boys got to play. But I think I told y'all this before. Back in 2000, right? Um, excuse me, 2000. Let's say 4 or 5. You know, it's it was the well, 2004 was the original when we start talking about opening the ABKC. Nothing really happened, man. Nothing really happened at all. You know, it was a lot of organizational time. It was a lot of talk time, and around this time is when talk of the pocket was getting bigger. So at this point in time, most of y'all have to remember what was considered a pocket at that time. What was considered short was 16 inches. Paco was 16 inches. Most people think Paco was some kind of bigger than that. He wasn't. As a matter of fact, in the original standards, it allowed for row to be a pocket. That tells you how big the dogs are. Oh, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, old man Denzel. He ain't doing the best. He's 14, so that happens. But the you know what I'm saying, is oh boy, y'all still talking Browns talk. I'm gonna address the Browns, then I'm gonna go straight into this thing. I mean, because with the thing of it is with the Browns, we're gonna say that for 2 seconds. The quarterback has really done nothing. He says the right things. He's never been that type of dude to throw his teammates under the bus. I mean, sometimes he doesn't play the greatest, but he's been a lot better than what they had. I think sometimes when you in a position of power, and that goes for every quarterback in the NFL, when you're in that position of power, what do? If you win, everybody glorifies you. If you lose, everybody blames you. And it's one of those things. When you play with popular players and different things like that, people are looking for somebody to blame. But at the end of the day, I got a lot of respect for the Baker Mayfield just because he goes out and he plays. Injuries, whatever, he plays. And the best part is, I've never heard him throw anybody under the bus. The Browns are leading the league in drop passes, and they're leading the league in giving up sacks. That's the one thing that those are two things a quarterback could bitch and complain about. He said nothing about it. So, at the end of the day, a lot of people around him need to step up, and then we can probably judge the quarterback for what it is. And that's around the league. Once the guys start catching the ball for Aaron Rodgers, have an MVP season. It ain't like Aaron Rodgers got better from one year to the next. Just the truth be told, guys start making plays for Aaron Rodgers. But going back into dog talk, um, you know, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Yeah, exactly, Maurice. Exactly. The transformation of the breed was something that was off the hook. And this is why I say that. The transformation of the breed at a time when you had the short dogs, which was at 16 inches. And then you had the standard dogs. And the standard dogs technically were pushing almost what we consider to be XLs now. The reason that the XL class was made at the time, and this is funny, was to include the really big dogs, the weight pool dogs, the Camelot dogs. This is what happened though. If y'all don't know, the standard for the ABKC especially, has changed a lot. Throughout the years, the standard continuously changed. The heights changed, different things changed in the standard. And what it allowed for is it allowed for confusion. And I'll start off by saying this is like, it all starts with the pocket class. And the reason being is because the pocket class is the bottom class. So you have to build up off of that. So, and like I told y'all, in the initial thought process, Rowe classified as a standard. I mean, excuse me, as a pocket. Being a little over 17 inches, he was short for his time. As the other dogs came along, which Paco was still 16 inches, Hallie was 15 inches, um, Hef was 16 inches. These was the popular pockets of the day. Everything was still all good, but we were trying to make them shorter. And they got shorter, and they got shorter. Then the problem became, what's the bottom on the pocket? And if we make the bottom on the pocket lower, you know what I mean, then every other standard has to be lower. So eventually it was settled on that the top of the pocket class would have to be 17 inches. If you hit 17 inches, you would be a standard. So we had a 3-inch rule, but it would seem like it was only for the standard class. And so that made the standard 17 to 20 inches. Now that would tell you if, you know what I'm saying, if, what's going on, Village Arsonist? I'm not looking at the screen the whole time. So if I'm missing y'all messages, I apologize. Now that would tell you if we went from 17 to 20, it was supposed to be 20 to 23. It was supposed to be 20. Hey, aloha. That's my folks from out there in the beautiful Hawaii. I gotta get there. But I tell you, if the standard was 20 to 23, it would have made it a lot easier. And now we're going to talk about the XL. This was the problem. Once the standard hit the 20 inches would make, the XL, it was never supposed to be that way. It was actually supposed to be a little bit bigger. But the dogs, like I say, the dogs got shorter. Well, what started happening is that you had two different types of dogs. Really, let's say 5 different types of dogs. Because long before that, you had the Whopper blood. The Whopper blood was used, and y'all had to go way back for this. But I'll tell y'all a quick story on this. The Whopper blood caused a lot of trouble for Dave. And this to tell you how strict we are. So, with that being said, with it not being true American Bully blood or true Pitbull blood, with the Whopper blood, and y'all forgive me as this thing goes, when people call in, it messes up the phone. But what I was saying, and I see it dropped the numbers. But I was trying to pause and hesitate around because somebody called in and it messed up the live feed. But what I was saying about the Whopper blood was this: is that a long time ago, you know what I'm saying? And I'll answer that. What are the thoughts on the ABKC? I'll answer that shortly. But what happened on the Whopper blood was this: that was a long time ago, a very very big weight pool blood. With that being a very, very big weight pool blood, you know what I'm saying? They knew that it was some mastiff in the dogs. This was all the way back. You can go. I think the Whopper came around like in the late 90s, and everybody recognized that the dog, and they said that the dog had some kind of mastiff in them. The dogs was 160, 170 pounds. They was huge ass dogs. You know what I'm saying? And what's going on, Francisco? So at this time, how strict we were, we had a dog. Not we had a dog, but Dave had a dog that was named Hippo. Hippo literally had like 2.5% of Whopper blood in him, and it became a huge, huge issue. So and I'm only bringing this up to tell y'all the, you know what I'm saying, the difference in how we think nowadays compared to back then. You know what I'm saying? And man, they gave Dave so much hell about Hippo. Hippo had this big ass head, big wide front. You know, he was a big boy, nice dog. But at this point in time, a XL class, you know, and mixing of mastiffs just wasn't accepted. You know, and like I said, it was so bad that Dave literally pulled that dog off the market. People couldn't use him. It just became a bad deal. So, you know, this is around the same time when we putting the registry together and stuff. And the focal point was really more so on the standard and the pocket, the more popular classes. And it was like with the XLs, we're gonna let this shit roll and see how it fall into play. Well, at that time with the XLs, and now that I'm getting back on track with my mental, it was already established XLs, and y'all know this. It was the big blue dogs, and if y'all see the screen freeze, that means somebody's trying to call in, and it'll clear right back up. But it was the big blue dogs, you know, as everybody say, the blue noses, and it was the big red dogs. Now, I don't know if y'all remember Dog World magazine or Dog Fancy magazine, but they used to have ads, especially a lot of the Camelot people. They would have ads and they would talk about, you know, my 140-pound boy with a 28-inch head. There would be these monster red dogs. Most of those was Camelot dogs. And most of the blues at that time actually came from Neapolitan Mastiffs that was big like that. And you would see a lot of people have big blue this, big blue that, and the dogs would be same thing, like 145, 150 pounds. Height-wise, they would be more in the range of probably 23, 24-ish inches. I remember when the standard was being written. It wasn't me. I won't take credit for this part. John Easterly was saying way back then, it's going to be a problem. And everybody was on his ass, and you know what I'm saying, oh, John, you just being overworried. He said, it's going to be a problem. He said, because you're making a class of obvious Mastiff type dogs that can also be a class of our American bullies. And I guess with the zest of wanting so badly to make something, they didn't want to listen to John. You know what I mean? They didn't want to listen to John at all. It was like, oh, shut the hell up, John. You're worrying too much. Yada 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 yada. You know, they gave my OG John hell. John was correct. This was the major problem. You had the Camelot style dog, which very well could have competed against the big blues, the Neapolitan Mastiff type dogs. They could have very well competed against each other. Similar in size, both coming from Mastiffs. A lot of them didn't have the tightest of skin. And when I say the tightest of skin, I mean it just wasn't what we would want, like that super tight. Like if y'all think about what Cairo looked like. Uh, um, but you had dogs like Cairo. You had dogs like Gotti. You had a lot of the gray line dogs. A lot of the gray line dogs really did carry the characteristics of big, big pit bulls and amstaffs, you know, and they would climb into that 20, 21-inch range. Think about if y'all have ever seen Pratt's Nemesis. As clean and as pretty as that dog was, he would have been in at the bottom of the XL class. Now you putting him in at right at 100 pounds, 20 inches against dogs that were going to be 23, 24 inches and literally 50 pounds heavier than him. Not the same type of face because when you put in a Bordeaux and especially a Neo, see they carry a different characteristic in the face. A lot of times, even when you do a good job of trying to line breed the wrinkles out, they still have the wrinkles. They still have just a different look. Even the circular head, but the wrinkles through the jaws, it was different. And I never forget that Easterly asked this question way back when. He said, what happens? He said, you know what we do in this breed? We try to make everything better. He said, but what's going to be the better in the XL class? Is the better going to be a better version of Cairo? Maybe we have a 21-inch dog instead of 115 to 120. We get him up to 140, just more muscle, more mass, a little wider. or is it going to be a better version of the Camelot style dogs? And the dogs end up being 25 inches, 175 pounds, 180 pounds, because they're adding more mass. He's like, that's a huge gap in dogs. That's a huge gap. Even if you talk about making Cairo 135, and he's 20 inches, compared to what the Camelot dogs could become, which is, pushing damn near towards 200 pounds. As a judge, how was he supposed to judge it? And at this time, I will tell you, I wasn't a judge. That's how I had the first show winner as a XL, which was actually Hallie's brother, and then the first champion in the first champion period in Halle Berry, but she was a pocket. I was showing under John Easterly. That's why John's influence was so big. John had came through the what's going on, bank statement. John had actually came through the UKC ranks. John was a Pitbull activist in the time of BSL. He was very, very adept. He was one of those guys that knew all the game dog guys. He knew all the show guys. He knew all the American Bully guys. So he really knew what the hell he was talking about. And I think at the time, because most of us hadn't been as universal, you know what I mean? What's going on, Repo Diamond? Uh, as we hadn't been as universal throughout dogs, period, we didn't understand what he was getting at and how he predicted that there was going to be a problem later on. I remember it was like yesterday. And this was something that he wasn't saying in front of everybody, but he said it. He said, T, I think we was actually in Houston, maybe. Either in Houston or Dallas. But he was telling me, he was like, T, the reason why I keep arguing with these guys about this shit is, he said, if we just make it all about size, where is the top of the size? How big is too big? He said, what looks are we locking in? Because he said, you know what these guys are going to do? He said they're going to start adding every mastiff breed they can for size, breeding them to regular bullies, trying to see. Yeah, excuse me. Trying to see what we can come up with. If that is not what happened, I don't know what to tell you. Now, now think about this. What's going on, John? Hope that girl is working out for you. I'm gonna tell y'all something in the middle of something, man. That brother that just posted up, he's probably like the best example of being patient in the world, man. He worked with me for a minute, and I love the girl that he ended up getting out of the deal, man. And sometimes when you be a little bit patient, you would rather be patient and get a dog that you like and you love than to rush to get something and in that same time span be looking to sell it next year or get rid of it or just sitting there with a dumb look on your face. But yeah, shout out to that brother, man, because he's a good folks. Now, going into what John was saying, and y'all know I always do that, take breaks in my talk. So um, we started to see it. Like Poncho, who was Hallie's brother, was a very stout, short dog for the XL class. Poncho was about 20, maybe not 21 inches. And he was very, very wide, big ass head. And this is what they started off with. Like I told you, I own Poncho. And this is what they started off with. Poncho could get up in weight. He could get up in weight to about 130 pounds at times. You know, it was like maybe this is what we going for, man. Maybe what we going for is a bully, wide, big dog that looks like the other dogs. Well, that was the argument. If you have that, how are you accepting the Camelot dogs? How are you accepting the other Mastiff type of dogs? And the way that, man, I'm glad to hear that, John. I'm glad to hear that. Shoot me a picture when you get a second. But you know, you knew that a problem was coming because you can't breed Mastiffs and they stay a certain height and small. When you start mixing different Mastiffs, you're shutting down different blocker genes too. And if y'all haven't studied into any of the blocker genes, every time you have a breed or even a species of animal or different things, and I think I touched on this last week, you'll have blocks. There's certain genetics maybe in the female that will allow that will block like gigantism, or will block the animal getting too small, or will block certain things about it. And the male and the female's genes work together to create the animal the way it is. Well, that's the risk when you start breeding dogs from different breeds. Their blockers are not the same. So, say for instance, when you get to talking about mastiffs, mastiffs are, believed to, well, all mastiff breeds are believed to have blocker genes for their size. And the reason being is because most mastiff breeds, carry traits of gigantism and can grow to be very, very big. So nature takes its course on that by putting in the blocker genes that allow them. Now we've seen world records where some mastiffs get up to 300 pounds. Normally they should be closer to 200 pounds. Even the bigger ones, they should be closer to 200 pounds than they are 300 pounds. Now the biggest problem with that with that shit is when you go to mixing it with a pit bull, or say an Amstaff, or say even OD, or any of these breeds, is that they don't have certain genetic issues, so they don't have blockers for them. Like pit bulls don't have a lot of blockers. You know what I mean? That would be for size, because it was never a size dog. Its genetics don't need that. It doesn't need to be, the genetic makeup doesn't need to, morph and worry about gigantism, because that wasn't a problem. Usually genetics, change to adapt to situations that come up. Like I told y'all, the giraffe used to have a short neck, now you got a long ass neck. In the best case situation, and what I'm explaining would be, like I've given you the example of the liger before. The lion does not have a blocking gene that stops it from getting too big. The tiger has a blocking gene that stops it from getting too big. But this is the reason why when you breed the tiger to the lion, it allows for their cubs to be 900 to 1,000 pounds, when that's way more massive than both of them, because the gene was missing to stop that size. Well, it started happening with these bullies too. Because if you look at dogs like the Tank, you look at dogs like the Hawk, you look at now what they're calling the double XL, a lot of these dogs do honestly come from some of the original XL, dogs that would have been Camelot dogs and different things of that nature. But one of the problems is that these dogs have been all mixed together. Everybody swears that, like, oh, he's a 200-pound dog because they went and they added, an English Mastiff. That's not necessarily the truth. Now I can't say that they didn't do it, at all. But what is happening is the genetics are transforming, and they're mixing different breeds to make these dogs, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, because of what other breeders have done. And those blockers aren't there, and it's allowing for gigantism. It's allowing for what we would say, quote unquote, double muscle genes, which is not the actual double muscle gene, but it is going that way, that it's allowing for the dogs to put on incredible amounts of mass. I'll tell y'all what's going on, Tone Moss. I'll tell y'all the truth about the whole double muscle gene thing. Um, and this is just, and I'll keep on going over some of these issues because I want y'all to see where I'm coming from. Now, this is something that was seen in Belgium cows, right? And this tells you what happens when you can just breed and breed up and up and start genetically playing with these things. The Belgium cows, some of y'all are familiar with those cows. Those cows carry knots of muscles. They look like cartoon characters. They've locked in this gene. They breed them now. They all have like super muscle. It looks like they've been taking steroids since they were a damn semen cell or some shit. It's ridiculous. It is incredible, but it's ridiculous. One of the, and it was, and they did that, genetically just breeding, and finding different ways to do it and doubling down on it. The whippet is a dog that carries the double muscle gene when the abnormality happens. But anyway, what they found out with the Belgium cow is, and y'all can Google that. Impressive as it is, it's very unhealthy. It carries these massive amounts of knots and muscles, and it's just huge. When you see it, it is impressive. But it started having genetic mutations also, because to carry that amount of size, you know what I mean? Uh, you know what I mean? You have to. I'll talk about that. Um, to carry that amount of size, you have to have a bigger, what was just talked about, sort of lung capacity, a bigger heart. It's immense stress on the system to pump that type of blood and put that type of oxygen level into the system. So they suffer from that. Their organs suffer a lot, but their organs did start to mutate and get bigger. The bones is one of the greatest things about them. Of course, we've all seen bones, whether it's a cow bone or whatever, skeletons. Well, the grain of a bone runs straight down, right? The Belgium cow, what it started to do is because of the immense weight that's on it, the bone started to twist, and the fibers in the bone started to grow, twisting, and it's almost like a candy cane. But by the fibers of the bones twisting, it allowed it to become more dense and hold more weight. So from the outside appearance, the bone looks normal. It looks straight. It just looks like a really big bone. But if you cut one open and you get down to their bone is actually twisted and turned like a candy cane. It's a lot different bone than what you see. But these are all genetic mutations, and there's many more in that particular cow. I say that to say this with the American bully. What they did was scientific in a lot of ways. It was great breeders that were, and I don't agree with making an unhealthy cow either, but there were very, very good breeders and knowledgeable people who went forth and made this animal, and put it to where it is now. In the American bully breed, that just it hasn't happened. And and someone just brought up where I brought up a horse that had double lung capacity, heart capacity. So it's pretty much the most famous horse ever. But that's a good point to make. That horse, right? Keep it bully. There you go, my brother. I know. See, he know all the terms. But the horse that I had brought up before is Secretariat. Y'all don't know, Secretariat by far is the greatest racehorse of all time. Was winning races by what? Like they say, what, 30 lengths or some crazy shit. Nothing could beat him. Well, when he died, they came to find out that his whole cardiovascular system, his heart, what's going on, Jonathan? Cannon, his heart, his lungs, everything was bigger. It allowed him to take in more oxygen. It allowed him to perform at a higher rate. Now, this is to give y'all another example, and I know we talking all around dogs, but I'll get to the point. Secretariat being in the hands of great big breeders, being in the hands of people who knew what they were doing, who still know what they were doing. There's still tons of his blood all over the racehorse world. They have not been able to duplicate his mutation in a proper fashion. They're obsessed with it. I've seen shows where they talk about it, trying to find his genetics in there some kind of way. And at that time, if they could have cloned him, they would have cloned him, because it made for like an animal that was just unstoppable. He could run at full speed, 100% for a whole long race and never get tired. That was his advantage. But with all of their technology and everything that they're trying to do, and y'all know racehorses, man. If y'all ever watch the auction, a lot of them little babies will go for $2, $3, $4, $5 million just because of their blood and the possibilities from them. They still haven't figured out how to master genetically to make a horse that's pretty much, like him. A lot of these little horses, they've got Secretariat in there 3, 4, 5 times. They're brought up from everything. They have not figured out how to duplicate that horse. Trust me, if they did, that horse would sell for an ungodly amount of money. I'm talking about ungodly. If they could duplicate Secretariat, that horse would sell for. I I'm just now getting into horses, but I'm gonna tell you what. You just have my skinny girl wine, Larry. Me and him got a bet, but but I'm talking about an ungodly amount of money if they could duplicate what that horse is doing, but they haven't been able to do it even with the technology. And what I'm saying is this: is that with the American Bully, and that's why I brought up those different mutations right there. We are so at the bottom rung. We are not even using technology. We are just throwing shit in a pot, and we don't believe in genetics. Well, the dog, the Tank, right? Now, I was asked to go see him by his owner, and this dog, if the owner was a different type of guy, it's something there. All of the Tank's brothers and sisters are like in the low 140s. His sisters even below that. What's going on, Alan Dennis? I drove all the way up to Missouri, and I got a chance to see the Tank. And when he walked out, it was unfucking believable. I've seen a lot of animals. I've seen a lot of animals. This dog, and when you see him in pictures, he looks like one of those cows. He's got this neck and these shoulders that pops out. You're like, damn, is this Photoshop? I'm here to tell y'all, it's not Photoshop. I was in this man's house. I personally seen the measurements on a 32-inch collar. This is an American Bully. Keep in mind, if I had to guesstimate the Tank's height, I would say it's only about 21 inches. He's not one of those big dogs like that, like the 25, 26 inches. The Tank could not fit a 32-inch collar. Now, to some of y'all don't understand these numbers. 32 inches on a 21-inch dog at the most. I say right around 20 inches. This was his neck. He could not fit it. The guy who owns him is a very wealthy guy, and he was ordering these expensive custom collars, and they were 30. He had to get them at 35 inches. Because the reason why he had to do that, thank you very much. Thank you very much. But the reason why he had to do that is because the dog was possibly still growing. He was young at the time. 32 fucking inches, that it wouldn't even come close to clasping. So now I'm just going over the dog, and I'm trying to find, I feel like I'm one of the myth busters because I'm trying to find what is wrong with this dog. I start watching him run around. The dog could run. The dog could move. And the reason why y'all hear my voice influxing like this, I get excited about mutants. That dog is a mutant. The muscle, I have no fucking idea, man. The muscle on this dog, and I know the dude is legit because y'all know the first thing I do is I check his balls. He had big cow balls back there. It wasn't no testosterone or no shot they was putting into this dog, man. Now, I'm not the smallest guy in the world. You know what I mean? When I tell y'all, I touched the Tank's shoulders, and it felt like I was trying to, just his shoulders. I'm talking about just the muscle up here on the shoulders. It felt like he had basketballs in his shoulders. That's why in the pictures, this motherfucker, man, it looks like he's like this. He looks like he's always flexed. Always flexed. And at that time, man, like I say, you know what I mean? If his owner was a different type of guy, he don't need dogs. He let that be known. He don't need dogs. It was his hobby. He really didn't feel like messing around with most of the community. He would get mad at everything really fast. That's why the Tank never became a big deal. But this dog was the one dog I've seen in the American Bully community that I could say was a true fucking mutant. The dog was weighing in at 185 pounds on a 21-inch frame. Y'all have no. If you can't, I mean, imagine that. Nemesis was 20 inches. This dog was probably only realistically 1 to 2 inches, maybe 1 to 2 inches bigger than Nemesis, but outweighing by 85 pounds. Moved good. It was just, man, it was incredible. It was incredible. What's going on, y'all? I'm missing some of these things because they jumping up on the screen fast. But this was the example of where the XL had sort of went sideways. And the reason I say that is because how are you going to compare that dog to some of the other XLs? Now we have an XL like Prince Charmer, beautiful, very clean dog. Prince Charmer is more like the old school. He's more in that 20, I say maybe 21-inch range. Probably 110-pound dog, very beautiful, very clean. This, that, and the other. And then you have these monsters, these freaks. And what the American bully community has been able to do very, very well, you know what I mean? Very, very well, is that they have been able to take the big dogs and condense their blood to make them shorter. But at the same time, their cousins are still there at 25, 26, 27 inches. Now, in that process, I'm a judge. Everybody knows that. It makes it impossible to judge these dogs. Now you have a more terrier, as they say, XL, and you have a more mastiff XL. But not only do you have a more terrier XL and a more mastiff XL, you got the freaky XLs that are just really, really big and muscular. Then you have the double XL that they want to call it now. But the problem is that the double XL really doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a double XL. So since they are talking about these dogs, the double XL, what happens is that the double XL is in the same exact class as the other dogs. So just for instance, like I say, the dog Prince Charmer, more of an old school XL. You look at a dog like the Tank, he would be a regular XL height, but double XL size. You have a dog like the Hawk, true double XL. And I can go on and on. The XL class is so out of control because there's no limits to it. People are just putting everything in there. I've seen some big, big, beautiful boys. Oh yeah, Big Herc is off the hook. You know, I mean, it's so many of them. These big ass red dogs, gigantic heads, wide chest, gigantic bone. You got the blue dogs, that's gigantic. You got this, you got that. But the one thing you don't have is you don't have a set standard. Now some of them look like shit. Some of them actually look like good dogs. Some of them look more mastiff, still looking good dogs. But it's making it so hard to judge and so hard to make this a breed. uh, you know, this is our problem with the XL. The XL roots started off. They did start off as the American, more of the American bully type thing. Like I say, Cairo was the original XL. Y'all seen pictures of Cairo? Do y'all tell me that any of the XLs even come close to resembling him today? You know what I mean? It's not. You know what I mean? I appreciate it, Jordan. There's nothing that's really out there that's resembling him or resembling a Juan Gotti a lot in the XL class. Now we're judging masters. We're judging dogs, and this is someone wanted to argue with me about this, so I'll tell you. Uh, Man, y'all, Chris, some of these damn comments are about cheating with the Tank, but hey, I'm telling you, the Tank could have been something else, man. He could have been something else. But one of the biggest problems is some people are doing these embark tests now, right? And now they're finding out, oh, what y'all been saying all the time, man. Y'all been saying all the time. You know what I mean? Is that I don't know what happened to the Tank. Like I say, the dude's owner is very, very temperamental, man. He's very wealthy. He's very temperamental. He used to delete people for asking to see a side shot of the dog. That's why y'all don't know who the tank is too much. You know, I doubt the dude is even messing with anybody anymore. He's when I tell y'all he's filthy rich, he's very, very filthy rich. The dude has $4 billion mansion out there in Arizona, 200+ acres in Missouri. When he said he don't need dogs, he don't need dogs. So it was just the dog went to the wrong person. Let's just put it that way. But now on these embark tests, dogs are coming back, right? And this is where I told y'all this a long time ago. They're coming back with uh, Neapolitan Mastiff. They're coming back with the Doge de Bordeaux, and I always mispronounce that, so y'all forgive me. I actually owned one back in the day. Um, they're coming back with Rottweiler. They're coming back with Bull Mastiff. You name the Mastiff, and they're coming back with it in it. You know. Now, the original question that started this whole thing was, is the get my big ass hands out the picture. But the thing is the XL meant to be a working dog? This is something that y'all hear me harp on all the time. When you write a standard, you're writing a standard for a purpose. And that purpose is not for people to cheat that standard and add a bunch of other qualities. The XLs that you see now today would make excellent working dogs. They would make excellent protection dogs. The reason being is look at the dogs that's added: Neapolitan Mastiff, Bordeaux, Rottweiler, Bull Mastiff. You know what I mean? These are all dogs of war. These are all dogs that will get after it. These are all dogs that will protect. The problem being is that the XL was not meant to have those kind of characteristics to where it was aggressive like that. The specific reasoning as to why we didn't want the dogs to have those type of characteristics were the BSL laws. We did not, as the American Bully, that's why in all of the talk of the American Bully, it was never supposed to be an aggressive dog. Because if y'all remember when they were doing the BSL, uh, it wasn't about dog fighting. It was actually about the dogs biting people. And this is where people sort of screwed the American Bully community when they mixed those dogs in there, is because a lot of these dogs have the same a lot of those dogs have the same qualities, the very, very same qualities as some of these dogs like Rottweilers, but they have even stronger temperamental issues because when you breed a Rottweiler, you're breeding it to have sound temperament. So a good Rottweiler is not just going to run out and want to bite everything and just go crazy, but it will protect its area. It's not a maniac. In the process of these breedings and mixing genetics like they have without going through the proper channels of understanding the dogs, we've created a dog that's part Pitbull, part this Mastiff, part that Mastiff, part this Mastiff. Let's throw a little bit because we want XL Merles. Let's throw in the Alapaha. Let's throw in, and I'm telling y'all because I've dealt with a lot of these dogs. Just like when you throw in the Alapaha has very, very high drive. The Alapaha is a hunting dog. The Alapaha is a protection dog. This dog has a ton of drive. This dog wants to get after it. When you see those Merle coats, that's where it's coming from. Don't ever let nobody make you believe it's coming from anywhere else. It's coming from the Catahoula, and that's where the Alapaha gets it from. If you've seen an Alapahas have beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bully looks. A lot of times with Alapahas, especially the ones that aren't Merle, you can put that thing in an American Bully ring and it will win, because they have the look, they have the thick bodies, and a lot of them have tighter faces. They don't always have the straight bulldog looking face, which that doesn't matter nowadays. But imagine taking this dog, and keep in mind, I had 5 Alapahas. I loved them, you know what I mean? But keep in mind of taking this dog that has a natural yearning to hunt things down and look at prey different ways, that has a drive to seriously, seriously do protection work. I can show y'all videos of Alapahas on the sleeve, getting beat with bamboo sticks. I mean, getting toe up, getting hit with a little bit of everything, and they won't let go. They are tenacious. But now you slid this into a breed. So you've put in all of this tenacity and aggression that comes from the Alapaha, and you're also putting it in there with, say, for instance, a Neapolitan Mastiff that's known for not playing around. Then you're giving it the characteristics of what a pit bull would have. And you're mixing this all in one pot, but you're presenting it as, oh, yeah, this is a cool dog. He's 150 pounds. His size is going to be this. He's going to be this. He's going to be this. But what you're not saying is, motherfucker might be a lunatic. A lot of the XLs today are very unstable dogs in more ways than one. A lot of them are physically unstable, but a lot of them are very much so mentally unstable. In the ring, at shows, I'm telling you, the more prevalent of the dogs that try to bite the judges are the XL dogs. Even with good owners and good handlers and good people who really mess with dogs, they're having trouble handling some of these XL dogs. Now, that's not to say all of them. Some of them are very, very well behaved. You always have it. But these dogs are machines on leashes, and they want to get after it. And we are call ourselves trying to make a breed, but we're not pinpointing the actual genetics and the actual characteristics of this breed. I deal with Rottweilers. Y'all know that the temperament on a Rottweiler is very, very different from that of what my American Bullies are. It's very different. It's very different. You know. Oh, King Liger. I talked about King Liger. King Lion. Those dogs were giant like that for a reason. He just brought up King Liger, and I told y'all we used to laugh because you know what I mean. They brought these dogs to a show. This was back 2005. This is one of the shows I talked about as we about to transition into Larry Durant, and we can do a whole nother 3 hours. You know what I mean? On XLs, but I want to give Larry Durant at least a half hour. But the funniest part about it is that you know what I'm saying, man, King Liger and King Lion and some of them other dogs, El Jefe, they were massive dogs, gigantic dogs. They definitely had they definitely had mastiff qualities. These dogs were so ferocious that they would wheel them dogs into the ring, because this was fun show days. We didn't have all the stuff we have now. They would, yeah, I seen they let him go. It's about time. But they would turn around and they would mess around and they would wheel this thing into the ring and literally have two or three guys holding the cage, clasping to get the damn chain on them. The dog would come out, and the whole time, and if anybody is on here and remember that, y'all confirm this because people gonna think I'm lying. It was like Hannibal Lecter. You would have four dog people wrestling to make sure that the dog didn't get loose. The dog would come out and just foaming at the mouth. 3D Kennels, what's up? I mean, foaming up on his back feet. Just now, y'all people in Cali is crazy, because this is where it always happened at. The people in Cali would give these fools standing ovations. We was in the ring and the dog would just and you talking about 150, 160 pound just monster, just and then after about 60 seconds of this dog losing his freaking mind. Yes, this was during the BKC days. I mean, we about to talk about that. After the dog loses his mind for a while, you know what I'm saying? They would put him back in the cage, and the people would give him a standing ovation and get to going wild. And I don't think people knew any better. But even back then, I used to be a crash dummy where I was learning how to train dogs. So I used to get, put the suit and the sleeve on. I was like, that dog is crazy as fuck. His owners couldn't stop him. He dealt with his owners like those was his dudes, but when he seen other shit, he would go absolutely ape shit crazy, like to the point where You like, is the dog gonna pass out? He was that mean. I mean, banging his head on the gate. I mean, he lost his mind, but people applauded this and wanted to breed to it. This was at a time, where we were trying to build the breed. This is one of the dogs that they added into the breed. It was a lot of very, very temperamental dogs there because of these mixes. And the Gotti line family was already doing a lot of mixes with American Bulldogs and other said breeds to try to do these things. And it went directly against what we were trying to do with BSL. We didn't want these dogs to bite people. And not to say we didn't want them to bite people. Let me fix that. We didn't want them to just have an undying, untamable desire to bite the shit out of people. And yeah, Prince Charmer is a beautiful dog. Beautiful dog. Moves like velvet. But we wanted more of a calm, like Nemesis. Nemesis was a very calm, chill, confident dog. Would walk in that ring, you know what I'm saying, if Pratt decided to put him out. And wherever he was, Nemesis was just silky smooth. Nemesis was like, Billy D. Williams, with his Coke 45. Just look at me. I got a silver blue coat, pretty eyes. I'm just beautiful. That was what that's what folks don't understand. That's who the XL standard was written after. It was written after Nemesis. It wasn't written after none of these other motherfuckers. And it was for very good reason. It wasn't just about looks. They're a liability. Because if you think about, if and like I said, we might have to go deeper into this. If you know anything about like the presser, the presser, the presser was gaining huge popularity and moving fast. The presser is really a lot like what the XLs are now. It's a similar mix. But one of the problems with the presser is when they were gaining popularity and you had bad breeders with them, they were getting into the hands of everybody. Pressers had killed several people. It was this one case that went national. I think it was somewhere in California, to where a dude had a couple presses in an apartment, and I guess his presses had got out the apartment, and a lady in another apartment was coming out, and they charged the lady, and she tried to get back in her door, and they got her before she got back in the door, and the dogs mauled the lady to death. This made national news. This was a big issue. At that point in time, man, the presser became like, you know, number one on a lot of people's lists. They didn't want those pressers around at all, man. I mean, and see, an experienced person can handle the presser. You ain't supposed to have no presser living in no damn apartment anyway. The motherfucker knock her door off the hinges. I love pressers, by the way. But it did a lot of damage to the presser's momentum. The presser was going forward and becoming about to be. I think it was going to become one of the more popular dogs. People was loving them pressers. It was gaining more popularity than the Corso was here. And when those events happened, that dog, yeah, they ended up labeling them giant pit bulls. That's exactly what they did. They ended up labeling them giant pit bulls to help their BSL shit. I was going there next. Oh God, it made a situation. And why I'm laughing at the situation and why I'm talking about, not laughing in the Lord bless the people who lost their lives in those situations, but the most ironic part is because the presser did damage to the XL. You know what I'm saying? And then you know what I mean? What happened is that we did a lot of work with BSL. And it wasn't just us. It was people all around the country, fighting for pit bulls, fighting for pit bull style dogs, giving the legislators hell, confronting the legislators right in Washington, D.C. and all that, so that we could keep our dogs, because the insurance companies wasn't allowing us to keep our dogs. The police was taking our dogs. It was becoming just a hunch a dog down. Let's get rid of these dogs. We don't want them anywhere around. And I tell you, it it did damage that for a while was almost like we couldn't get over it. Like I told y'all, it was so hard to throw these big shows in the beginning that the money was just ridiculous. We were spending $30,000 and $40,000 to throw a show, And really, it was just we were paying our way to get these events going because we had to lace a lot of people's pockets. We had to do a lot of different things because they didn't want these dogs around. And it's amazing to see years later as we talk about the different varieties of the XL dog that we have now made the dog that we was trying to get away from. And I still love the XL, don't get me wrong. But as far as the XL being a protection dog, remember, a protection dog is still sound in mind. My Doberman will bite the shit out of you. You know what I mean? He will bite you, but he can still play with the kids. If I introduce him to you, he will deal with you. He will not try to bite you if I introduce him properly and he knows that you're a guest in the house and you're not doing anything to harm anybody. He can live with you. You know, he can be an all right dog. But if you do anything out of characteristics or if I give him a couple commands here or there, he will snatch you and he will maul you. That's a good dog. What we're seeing that's been made with all these mixes and people breeding for popularity and people breeding for money is we're creating an unstable animal. And I wish I had like all the time in the world to tell y'all this, but this is the biggest fear in this community. We can talk about the sizes, and I touched on it, but like as a judge, you can't breed all these different damn things. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You can't breed. I'll go into other dogs. Don't y'all worry. I'll go into a lot of dogs. So many dogs. Y'all have to think in my head. Y'all asking me to talk about these different lines. Man, I've seen them all. You know, I've seen from Gotti to Cairo. I'm one of the rare people who've seen Cairo. I'm one of the rare people who mess with his mama, Paddington. I can tell you stories about Paddington and how you better back away from Paddington, or because if you turn and walk away from her, she gonna bite you in the ass. I've seen so many dogs. Trust me. Every dog that you've talked about, that is talked about in the American bully community, it's a 50-50 chance that I've seen them out of the old dogs. You talk about short shot, you know what I mean? Legendary dogs. You talk about Remy. I got pictures with Remy. I've been to the house of Marco and well, we competed against each other with Paco, Hef, Toxic, you name them, Nemesis, Kamali, you name them. I've seen all of these dogs all the way up to a lot of these dogs now, you know. So it's a lot for me when I don't try to short people's dogs, but it's a lot to, it's a lot to process sometimes, you know. So that's why I sort of try to keep it vague. But as these mornings go on, we're gonna talk specifically about Remy. We're gonna talk specifically about, we're gonna talk specifically about Paddington. We're gonna talk about how those things happen and the characteristics of those dogs. Excuse me, not Remy. Remy was mean, but he wasn't like that. Not as mean as he was more gang. Let's say that. Cairo was mean. You know, Cairo was mean. Noah Chow Chow is not a fluffy bully. But uh, that I'll touch on this real quick. As I finish up what I was saying is that in the show ring with the XLs, it's going to be hard. If y'all trying to show XLs, it's going to be hard. You're going to face a lot of disappointment right now because there's too many variations. It's too much favoritism towards certain variations. So when they have these variations, you know what I mean? You don't know what you're getting into. And if a certain person likes these variations more than they like your dog is going to lose. And it's just that simple. It's unfortunate, but this is the way things work. With that being said, like I said, we're going to have more talk about the XL, but the fluffy XL and the fluffy this and that and the other. Another big dangerous thing. As they start talking about making these fluffy dogs, believe it or not, somebody has already went as far as to start talking about. Yeah, I seen Monster G, man. I seen Monster G. I seen Monster J too. Monster J is one of the most beautiful dogs I've ever seen. Monster G was more so. Monster G had a little bulldog, if you ask me. In hindsight, still an impressive ass dog, but very impressive. You know, but the thing of it is now they want to add a Tibetan Mastiff to make a fluffy Mastiff. I don't know what the fuck wrong with people. A Tibetan Mastiff, first of all, is a very ferocious dog. to what my guys say, the Tibetan Mastiff is not to be trifled with. I got a good friend of mine down in South Africa that breeds the Tibetan Mastiff, and he was actually going to send me one, and I turned him down for right now until I get this thing situated out here. I'm getting a little farm out here with some real acreage, so until I get space, you know, and the time to do it, I would never touch a Tibetan Mastiff. They're beautiful. I love to look at them, but they are not to be trifled with. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say that instead of using an F bomb. They are not to be trifled with at all. These dogs are serious, serious business. And y'all give me 1 second because I forgot about something. I'm going to change this up real quick. Okay. There we go. When I don't take this phone out of the case, it'll overheat. And I ain't wanted to cut us off and end the live. But hey, much love, Mister. I missed the rest of your name. I apologize. Like I say, these things move fast. But you know that's irresponsible. And I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm just telling y'all that kind of breeding is irresponsible. To take chows and mix them with these dogs. As I was growing up as a kid, I had a black child, a purple tongue. Yes, I've had a lot of dogs. His name was Dark Vader. That's what we used to call him, Mo Vader. Vader would light your ass up. You know what I'm saying? Child's temperament is not that to be trifled with. So as you take a child and you want to add more size to it and you want to add other characteristics to it, and this dog is not, ask people who own childs. Childs are not, they are cute, but they're not to be played with. If you know the origins of a child and why they have that big furry coat, this dog will whoop your ass. This dog is not to be played with. You know, a child is not to be played with. So we got this community of people who think everything's funny, and these damn people will mix anything into a dog, not understanding. You know what I mean? That these dogs will hurt you. You know what I mean? They will hurt you. So we're mixing them in with bullies and giving them maximum muscle and athleticism and giving them this drive. And then they've got this other shit going on in their head. And we're mixing that all into one pot. And we're saying, oh, yeah, this is going to work out. What we're doing is we're putting ourselves in a situation. And it's for those who don't know, you know what I mean? My daughter's mother, you know, actually works with dogs and works with the Humane Society. That's one of the reasons why I see the Humane Society so frequently, you know, and me and her talk about these things all the time, you know. Me and my baby have to go through these conversations. You know, we have to go through weird conversations to where it's like, you know, it's some fucked up dogs down there. I hate to tell y'all this. It's some really truly screwed up dogs down there because you know what I mean? What's going on? I don't want to mispronounce your name, Shakib. If I mispronounce your name, I'm sorry, my brother. Blessings. You know what I mean? But at the Humane Society, what's happening right now is this. At the Humane Society, they have so many dogs whose mental issues is crazy. They can't even attempt to. They can't even attempt to get these dogs out. It was one dog recently that they had at the Humane Society that they had a dude come all the way from Dallas. The motherfucker drove from Dallas to Houston because he was supposed to be the dog whisperer. That damn dog damn near tore the dog whisperer's ass up. That dog tore he almost he ran the dog whisperer's ass straight the hell up out of Houston. The dog whisperer said, "I don't want no more." They now because they you know how they be at these dog places. They don't really want to kill them. They want to like we gonna find a place. We gonna but these dogs is coming in and it's 75% bullies in this mother. You know what I'm saying? So first they like you know they got their own dog whisperers and shit. And these people like, I ain't going in there with him because he just was a maniac. And trust me, they get a few every month that's just off the hook. I love hearing the stories. But then We had the one. Usually they can get them to come around. Somebody, the dog gonna find somebody to like. Somebody feeding them. They like, okay, I'm gonna make a friend. So man, y'all talking about that damn coat with the damn poop constantly being on there. I know about that. But look, I'm telling y'all, they brought the dog whisperer in. It wasn't Caesar Milan. It was the Dallas dog whisperer. He drove his ass down here. I'm interested in this shit. I'm like, okay, let's see what he gonna do. Cause you know what I'm saying? This dog, they was bragging about how this dog just was tearing everybody's ass up. They wouldn't let him nobody get next to this dog. So the dog whisperer, he even made a video or some shit talking about, yes, I'm about to go and take off down to Houston, Texas, and we're gonna save this bully because all dogs are not bad dogs. You just have to understand them. You just have to speak their language and communicate. He ain't know that motherfucker's language. Cause that I tell you what, I I'm calling her and I'm like, hey, what happened with the dog? Did the dog whisperer get this dude? And she said, the the, the damn dog whisperer the damn dog whisperer went to lunch. So the dog whisperer wasn't giving up. He was like, he just needs some time. He just needs some time. So they gave some time, right? So really what the fool was trying to do is he was trying to get some food, right? Because that is something that, if you train dogs, if you get that food and you get that food smell on you, the dog sometimes like, okay, they don't really think it's your food, but they be like, okay, I'm interested. You smell good. It's just like if you get a like what I used to do with crazy ass dogs is when I have bitches in heats, I take a cloth and shit and I wipe the cloth down with the bitch's scent. You know what I mean? And so if they was too off the hook, you know what I mean, I go ahead and I wave that towel. And now I'm changing their mindset. They ain't thinking about biting, they thinking about, freaking. So that's how I wave it in front of them. Like, hold on now. And I jerk them. I wave it in front of them. And it would confuse them because they know it's a bitch somewhere in heat. So I'm taking them I'm taking them out of the aggression mode and taking it over to the freak mode. Because y'all know, you'll stop being angry real quick to be a freak. Y'all know, fellas. Y'all know how that stuff go. Your wife can do all kind of crazy shit. She go and run that credit card all the way up, and you be looking and you be like, I'm tired of your shit. And next thing you know, she come up out that room and that damn Victoria ain't no more secrets, and all of a sudden, you know what, baby? You deserve nice things. You change that shit up quick. You deserve nice things, baby. Do you need another card? Do you need is that a titty? You done forgot all about the bill and every damn thing else. I got 7 million kids, so y'all know I got problems. And I know y'all got the same problem, so I ain't gonna even worry about it. I don't feel alone. But yeah, the damn dog whisperer, he might have should have tried that. Maybe getting that smell would have broke that dog's mentality. I don't think nothing was gonna break that dog's mentality, though. That dog was a straight up damn lunatic. And the damn dog damn near killed the person. You know what I mean? He bit the shit out of he bit the shit out of the dog whisperer. The dog whisperer went back to Dallas and didn't want to talk about it no more. And then he made the little thing that, not every animal can be fixed. Some animals are just broken. And we as a society have to understand that the broken ones, unfortunate as it may be, we have to let them go. I said, Whisper, it was such a disappointment to see him just give up like that. I'm like, you ain't gonna come back tomorrow? But this is what we're making, Y'all know I like to make my jokes about it, but this is what we're making. A lot of you on here, like I tell y'all, like I tell people in the mentorship program, if y'all want to sign up for the mentorship program, email me at TBKC Dogs or my phone 727-744-0963 or whatever, Hall of Fame Bullies on Facebook, True American Bully on Instagram. Just message me. It's the program should be getting better as we be able to do these conference calls. But you are all going to sell a dog eventually. If you breed, you have to sell a dog, or you have to, give a dog away. I am a huge kid person. I love kids. I love them to death. You know, that's my thing. I love kids. I love teaching kids. I love hanging out with kids because they're brutally honest and they're brutally innocent and they don't understand how screwed up this world is. And it's like my getaway. I could sit there and listen to all these little jokes and shit don't even make sense half the time, but I got to laugh. You know, kid walk by and just go ahead and boom, take a little fart. And we gonna do it. We gonna do it. I seen your message. It was too late. I didn't want to message you back. I'll message you shortly. But TBKC Bahamas, we ready to roll. You know, as you sell these dogs, and this is what I want to say before I tell y'all about Larry Durant, the XLs, the protection, and it's way longer than this. We can't cover it in 2 hours, as y'all see. We have a responsibility as a community. We really have a responsibility as a community. I'm not going to get emotional, but I've seen some pictures, you know, unfortunately. A lot of shit don't make the news. You know, like I say, I dealing with, you know, not just, you know, one person with the Humane Society, but dealing with multiple people who work for the Humane Society and different rescues and different things. I see the pictures. I see elderly people getting mauled by these dogs. I see kids, you know, and that fucks with me because, you know, I've seen enough pictures of babies with their faces swollen, their ears then got tore off. It is terrible, and that's on us. I know everybody always gonna say, no, that's just on the owner. No, it's not. It's on us as breeders to make a stable dog. That's simple. It's on us to create a mentally stable dog that can go into these homes. If we can't do that, then what the fuck are we doing this for? You know, if you looking for trophies, if you looking for money that serious that you would send a loaded weapon into the house with an elderly person or a child, you more fucked up than I thought you were. Our responsibility is to make the breed better and to go forward in a fashion that we don't need more guard dogs. I'm gonna tell y'all that. It's plenty of breeds that have been perfected for now hundreds of years that can guard your house. If you want a guard dog, go get you a Rottie. If you want you a guard dog, go get you a Doberman. Go get you a German Shepherd. If you got the energy and the time enough, go get you a Belgium. You know, get you something that's built for this and has the temperament and has the training, and it has been refined that you can train to be a good dog here, and you know what you're dealing with. I'm not telling you that all XL bullies is bad. I'm not telling you that at all. You know what I mean? I enjoy the ones that I have. But at the end of the day, you know, there's a temperament thing there that is very, very strong. It's a temperament thing there that could end up in someone losing their life. And I don't want to be morbid after we crack our jokes and we have a good time, but this is your fucking responsibility. If you don't do nothing else, make sure that you are sending a stable dog home. If this dog is not stable, get rid of this fucking dog, man. Do not breed this dog. If this dog is not stable, do not breed it. I don't care what class it's in, what it is, do not breed that dog because people rely on us. People depend on us. When people give us that phone call and they say, hey, I want to buy a dog from you, they're trusting you not only with what you think. Oh, can I give you a show winner? Can I give you a badass bully? Can I give you something that you're gonna be able to possibly breed for to start your own program? That's not only what you're giving them. You're promising them that you're giving them something that they can live with, that won't hurt their families, that won't get them a damn case and have them in court, that won't become something that is a huge, huge problem. Y'all don't know, like literally, I know most people who watch these videos and stuff think that like I'm just always like readily available. And those who try to call me find out I'm not that available most of the time. It's a lot of followers. You know, I have nearly throughout whole social media the numbers over 1 million, and a lot of those are the same people. But it's a lot of people who follow these pages and do different things, and I get a lot of stories in, and not just from this, but you know, y'all don't know how many people I know who have to put their bullies down, not just for health reasons, but for temperament reasons. I had a couple who called me maybe last year this time. actually wanted to get a dog from me because they heard me talking about this stuff. You know what I mean? And exactly, let them dogs stay where they're supposed to be at. And it amazed me because the individual was a smart man, good business owner, great musician. You know what I mean? And he's like, man, I bought this dog, and it was some of the bloods that you was talking about. It was very unstable. The dog bit my wife twice. I'm like, damn, that's screwed up, man. What do you know? And he's like, yeah, I need to get something that's stable. Still love to breed, but this ain't right. The dog attacked my family. So in the process, you know what I mean? This individual turns right back around, doesn't want to wait, and they go and buy another dog because it was cute. And the only thing I can hope in that situation is that with all the cuteness that he got in that dog, is that the dog didn't harm his family. And I don't understand that way of thinking. But at the same time, I tell you what, if you are not willing to do the proper investigation, ask the proper questions about the mental health of the animals that you are buying, and you are not on top of the mental health that of the animals that you're selling, accidents happen. And the one thing that you don't want to do is you do not want to ever have an accident happen that cost someone their life. You know, fuck your reputation and what you're talking about. Oh, my reputation and this. No, it's about someone losing their life because you were irresponsible and couldn't do what a true dog man or dog woman does, and that's just protect people. Regardless of whatever we think that we're doing with these dogs, our number one goal is to protect those who those dogs will be around. Those should be on your top of your priority list. A healthy animal. And when I'm talking about health, I'm talking about physically and mentally. That should be on the top of your priority list. The dog lives a good life. The family that has the dog lives a good life. That's the top of your priorities. If you're not doing that, then you're doing this thing all wrong. Y'all see my boy Tyler Malone jump up on here, man, and his screen name on here is Keep It Bully, but I'm urging y'all to follow that brother because he is taking this game to where it should be. He's doing extensive testing on his dogs. He likes to watch his dogs grow. He likes to watch the maturity of his dogs. He wants to see every aspect of his dogs because he believes in what he's doing and he wants it to be 100% correct. I love it. I love his passion. I love what he's doing with the dogs because this is where it needs to be at. I'm telling y'all, yes, I'm still a little bit shook. Every time I think about the pictures that I've seen of what dogs have done to kids, it just fucks me up, man. It's just like, damn, it's ugly, and we all got babies or gonna have babies or love babies from that's in the family and different things like that. And just, I hate to put that image in your head, but it need to be in your head. You need to think about the babies that you love, whether it's your own or your nieces or your nephews, you know what I'm saying, being confronted by a 90-pound dog and those teeth. My God, you know, all because somebody was irresponsible. That ain't, all because literally, and I'm about to switch over because this topic will keep me in a bad place for a while. But I literally seen pictures of a man. No, it was 2 months ago. This gentleman didn't deserve that shit, man. A group of bullies that somebody had left out. They would run around like a pack of dogs. They was bullies. I seen the pictures of the fucking dogs. They was bullies. Let's not, we gonna say what it was. They was bullies. People already they just call them pit bulls. But man, I talk about Blue after a while. But he's a nice dog. Not perfect, but he's nice. Uh, they mauled dude so bad that they took his scalp off, y'all. This was an elderly man. Yeah, they mauled dude so bad that he had to have his shit. You know, this is what we doing. We filling up these kennels, and 75% of the dogs in these shelters right now is American bullies or some kind of bully, Pitbull, uh, Even the poor English bulldogs, they starting to be in there. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They starting to be that. They starting to be there. I'm gonna tell you what. If you want to know about Blue, man, look up my guy's video. Just put in what was it? Top 5 American bullies. You know what I'm saying? My boy got a good video. It's on YouTube. He got a good video. I agree with what he was saying. They hated on him about it, but I agree. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna get off the XLs because that shit didn't brought me down just thinking about all these dog attacks and shit. I'm sorry, y'all. I messed up y'all morning with that shit, but we do have to be responsible. We do have to. It's gonna be some, for lack of a better word, renovations to the XL class. You know what I mean? What about OB? It was time for Odell to be released. I'm an Odell Beckham fan, but I'm an accountability fan, and I believe that if everywhere you go, it's always somebody's fault, then you're never gonna be what you need to be. You know what I mean? And the thing with Odell is he's super talented, but it was things that came from the Giants, and it's a very simple thing, but he always gets open, but he runs the wrong route. He likes to do a lot of extra moves in his route. Well, when you're playing a quarterback position, you're expecting somebody to be at a certain place at a certain time. And when they always do what they want to do, no matter what they want to do, it messes up timing. One of the reasons that he dropped so many passes because the passes, you know what I mean, and his timing has never got there. He believes that he's above, what other people, what the system is. And I'm a strong believer in that. Once when he was with the Giants, it was Manning's problem, but Manning didn't have problems with other people. Once he got to Cleveland, it was Baker Mayfield's problem, but the Baker Mayfield plays well with all the other receivers. The stats show it. Everybody else he's throwing the ball to, he's doing well, but he's not doing well with you. You can't be that person that I've got problems with everybody, but the problem ain't me. And I wish the brother well. I'm gonna be rooting for him whatever spot he land. But it is his talent is off the charts. His talent is off the charts. His talent is undeniable. But even when you have great talent, you have to have great discipline too. And that's the thing. You know what I mean? Okay, before I go into this Larry Durant, what's my top 5 pocket breeders? Mm, I think you would have to say top 5 pocket breeders. Of course, you would look at Marco Suarez. Um, it gets rough after that. I don't think, as far as breeders go, I don't think a lot of breeders have established themselves as being top breeders. I'm just being honest with you. I don't think that, and I live on a hard scale. Like I say, I like what Waffle House is doing. He's produced a lot of nice pockets. Bully Market um, with Robert Lee has produced some nice pockets throughout the years. Some quality. So I guess if you would talk about Tone Road and over there with Waffle House, he's done some nice things with a lot of pockets, some standards. Marco Suarez is the king of pockets because he had Paco. That's just the way it has to go. Um, you know what I mean? But to a lot of these other guys, I would have a very, very hard time giving them credit for being great breeders because, or even saying top 5 because think about it. Who actually has a top 5 consistent program in the pocket world? You know, you know what I mean? It's just. Oh, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. You know, it's rough for me because consistency makes everything. And you know, what would we be judging it off of? If we judging something like that off of confirmation, then it would really blow up in our faces because a lot of people don't breed for great confirmation. If you want to talk about like popularity, Bashar would be on the list, but we run into issues with his dogs as far as confirmation and some of the other things he's done. This is one of the biggest problems in the American bully world. This is why I have a problem even getting to someone once asked me to make a top 10 breeders list, and that's hard because I would if I was making just a top 10, not top 5 pocket, but a top 10 breeders list, it would have to be like an all-time list. And most of those breeders don't even breed today anymore, or breed very, very, infrequently, like Carlton Pratt's from Pratt's Bullies. He would definitely be in the top 10 breeders of all time. Sean Gilmore and Kurt with what the hell? And now y'all know I should be ashamed of myself, but and I tell y'all how long it is, but y'all know Sean the True Tank. Shit, that's my dude. But True Tank, Marco Suarez, Oscar Gomez, Dave Wilson. Um, the list would get shorter and shorter. Danny Navoa would be on the list, but Danny very, very rarely ever breeds either. Danny's made some nice dogs. Fernando with Raging Bulls, he didn't have a big body of work, but he had very, very nice dogs. It's hard to make a very, very good list of so-called top breeders by the expectations that I have, because they have to have great conformation and they have to fit the standard. And a lot of the breeders just don't anymore. Like I say, it's some good ones out there. Dayton from Illinois has had a lot of good dogs for a lot of good years. Um, but it gets slim pickings. Mike from Devil's Den, if y'all notice, I'm going back to a lot of the old guys because they've been doing it for decades now. And they've been consistently doing it for decades. Marco can show you a couple decades of dogs now. You know what I mean? Mike from Devil's Den can show you a couple of decades of great dogs now. Carlton Pratt, same thing, couple decades of great dogs. Oscar Gomez, same thing. Dave Wilson, even though he stopped breeding, he still had little stuff that would kept him going for a couple decades of great dogs. It would have to be those guys, and they've all had dog Sean. Sean from True Tank, him and Kurt, they go all the way back to the short shot era and the stuff that they brought forth from that. Danny Navoa goes all the way back to the Fox dogs and came all the way up through that producing dogs. It's always, you know what I mean? It would have to be the OGs though, man. It would have to be. Fernando has not been around quite as long. I think Bullmaster was his first bully, but he was a very good American Bulldog breeder. Very, very good. But the American Bully, and I don't want y'all to think I'm being totally negative. I just feel like, you know what I mean? You know what? I try not to put myself on those lists. I feel like if everybody else should do it. You know what I mean? If you're gonna get anything, let other people give it to you. I'm confident in my dogs, and I got more champions than all of them, by the way. But I think it's now Sean Mullins has put together a lot of good stuff too. Sean is a friend of mine too, you know what I mean? I just think this is the thing. And I think that where we run into it, we bump heads a lot, is that my standards are higher than a lot of other people's standards. Like, I feel like my program is so incomplete, and I'm getting closer by bringing the bloods in and the stuff that I have now. I feel like I'll be complete in another 5 years to where my look is locked in. I got a lot of little moving parts right now that's going to be right on point, and it's all going to come together. Whereas other people, they give people credit who have made two or three nice dogs. Oh, that's a hell of a camp. That's a hell of a camp. Or you made 10 dogs, but you've done 100 breedings. And I feel like the top breeders, and that's why I always throw Marco and Oscar and Pratt's right up at the top of the list, is because the top breeders have programs. They can continuously give you a look. They can continuously fit inside the parameters of the game we play here, and they can give you a look. Yeah, Mandela is actually a very, very clean dog. He has a little loose skin, but conformation wise, Mandela would destroy all these dogs. Yeah, Mandela is a very, very clean dog. But I think the same way I think of kennels, I think of the American Bully game, and it's disappointing because the dogs were better. Hear me out now. The dogs were actually better in 2005. Now, I tell y'all this, and I got to get to Larry, but I tell y'all this. Think about this. If I brought back an all-star team from back in the day, do y'all really think that the dogs today could beat them? If we were going on conformation, bulliness, and fitting the breed standard. This would be my all-star team that I would bring back. Of course, we would start off with the queen, Hallie. I'm gonna tell you like this, and this is real stats. People who were there know Hallie was in the 15s as far as her height goes. Her normal weight stayed in the 80s, like 80, 85 pounds. Her head size when she finally topped out was 25 and a half inches. The bitch had absolute perfect conformation. There is not a female still to this day that would want to see her. There might not be a male that would want to see her. Stiff stifles are going to be seriously hard to correct, by the way. Seriously, seriously hard to correct because it's about the bend in the knee. What happens to most dogs with stiff stifles is it leads to a high rear or a CCL tears because the stiffness, and that's basically the ACL in a human. But the stifles are so stiff that if the dog moves a lot when they start trying to run, they oftentimes tear the CCL. But yeah, stiff stifles are hard to fix. I don't even know if it's a true way to fix them, but I do know that exercise helps with dexterity and it makes it better. So, light exercise, don't let them do the fast paced running, but light exercise does help with dexterity and the bend in the knees. But yeah, stiff stifles is just one of those issues that very hard to fix. But yeah, if like my all star team, depends on how far they would let me go back. But or come forward. But I would definitely have Hallie starting off batting one. Then who better to bat two is Paco. Paco, he would be hard to beat nowadays. His confirmation was too good, and he was just as bully. Then I would go with King Kamali. King Kamali, motherfucking beast. It's too hard to King Kamali, and and then I would go with Nemesis. To me, Nemesis was the perfect version of a XL. He reminds me of how Charmer is beating everybody's ass in the ring right now. That would be Nemesis. It would be very, very hard. You know what I'm saying, to beat Nemesis nowadays. Then you go into a dog like Pokemon. Pokemon would be very hard to beat. He brought that size. He brought everything. The true American bully looks. The only reason why I'm leaving Remy off the list is because I put Pokemon on the list. Now, if y'all want to let me put a somewhat younger dog on the list, I would put Ruger. Ruger is damn near 10 years old now, so I guess he would be an OG from back in the day. But Ruger, almost the most perfect standard bully I've ever seen. Then you turn around and you would probably Nemesis was 20 inches, a little over 100 pounds with a 24 and a half inch head. So he was on the small for the XL side. But you know what I mean? But yeah, Pokemon had the slight high rear, but think about it. We talking about going against the dogs of today. That means if we put Pokemon in there against the dogs of today, they would have to be perfect to beat him. So, for instance, a hot dog today would be Rocco. You put Rocco against Pokemon, how could he win? Rocco has a kink tail. Rocco has a high rear. Rocco is a little bit sway. You know what I mean? Pokemon would destroy him. That's why, I put him in there with, because several of the dogs have little flaws. If you put, I guess he would fit in there because he's over 10 years old. If you put Bistro in there, they would have trouble with Bistro, especially with the standard of allowing for a slight underbite and slight easty-westy. They would have trouble with Bistro. You know what I mean? But we said going back to those days, you know what I mean? Toxic, Paco's brother. Toxic was nicer than really. Toxic was every bit as nice. It just depends on what style you like. Maybe nicer than Paco. The dogs who reigned terror back then. Y'all, for some reason, everybody thinks that Remy. You know what I mean? That they think that Remy was a small dog. Remy was 90 fucking pounds, man. Remy was not a small dog. They just want this illusion because they want to say, oh, it's bullying. The thing was is that Remy was in shape. Remy wasn't one of these dogs that was fat and bloated, but Remy was 90 pounds with a big, beautiful head and great conformation. Remy would give dogs hell today if you put him in the ring. They would probably try to put him in the classic, but he would give dogs hell. Remy was incredible. Remy was incredible. Remy probably wouldn't have been a good show dog though because he was mean as hell. But you talk about Remy, then you go to some of the Gotti line family. Golden Boy. Golden Boy was a nice dog. Uh, man, you go to Monster J. Monster J was a very nice dog, just too damn mean. It was some heat coming. You know what I'm saying? It was some heat coming. You know, yeah, Rye. You know what? I think Rye. The reason why Rye didn't have as much success as he was supposed to is because of his owner. That's it. His owner could be abrasive at times and wasn't down with the get along game. So he would hand the ABKC their ass sometimes, and it just made the community, those who follow the ABKC religiously, they didn't want to deal with him because he every now and then give them their ass. But man, I could put together an all-star team of older dogs, and they would be in trouble. The newer dogs that they would have to bring in would probably be. Oh yeah, Monster was a beast. Um, they would probably have to, of course, use Mufasa. With his recent reign, his brother Romeo. You would have to use the bear. And there's a few dogs who could get down today. But the level of excellence is a lot lower now than it was. Like I'm gonna tell you the truth. I never really got a chance to break Danger down. I've seen front shots look solid in the front. I need to check him out though. But those old dogs would bring absolute mayhem. Mayhem from the pictures I seen nice. Yeah, from the pictures I seen nice. But pictures is posing. So I like to see a dog move, but you know, man, it's a lot of bad dogs. But I like to see them in person because when I see them in person, I get to find out things about them. Like Biggie said, I find out what their interests are, and sometimes they're interested in walking like a duck. But that would be a good conversation. Maybe we do that next week and just go over all the old dogs and break down dogs next week on a Friday show. That'd be fun. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, we gonna break down some dogs and we gonna have some fun. You know what I'm saying? And even the ones that I don't have pictures of, I can look up the pictures while we talking. But yeah, we gonna break down some dogs. Yeah, Golden Line was. I wish I would have got some of that blood when Golden Line was doing their thing, man. When they was really doing their thing, I wish I could have got some of that blood. Corrupt was a better producer than he was a looker. When I first seen Corrupt, I thought Corrupt looked like a damn toad, and really, really extreme shoulders, too wide for me. But he was a beast, man. And what I liked is that he produced a lot better. He was like Savage. Not to say that Savage was an ugly dog, but excuse me, Savage didn't look nearly as good as Savage produced, and that was the same thing with Corrupt. Corrupt produced far better dogs than he looked by far. By far. And I'm glad I'm making it. I got somewhat of a sore throat. I'm making it. You know what I mean? But I tell you what, Larry Durant, we got to go into this, and we've taken a lot of time, but we got to get into this. New Trojan Kennels are not around. New Trojan Kennels got killed pretty much by Bashar. Uh, Shake hands with the devil, and sometimes it don't work out with you. Now, for those who don't know, you know what I'm saying? Larry Durant and the BKC. Larry was throwing huge, huge dog shows in California, way before there was even a thought of an ABKC. See, Sweet and Low was one of the best females ever. Beautiful girl. Um, Larry was throwing star-studded shows. When y'all hear us talk about all these celebrities going to shows and shit like that, that was Larry's show. Larry was really the first one who was bringing the shows inside and making them convention center type shows. You know, Larry was going head on and finding great advocates for the American Bully breed, but really the Pitbull breed, and I'll explain. At that time, everything was Pitbull, everything was Pitbull, but Larry was finding people. I'm talking about straight from Hollywood, real actresses. Like I told y'all at one show, you know what I'm saying, he had several major actresses. Caesar Milan, the whole West Coast Customs guys came and set up a booth. You know what I mean? He's had, rappers and different things in these shows. He was bringing the star power and representing the show scene. I mean, he's representing the American Bully to the highest level. No matter what Dave Wilson or anybody else tries to tell you, Larry Durant really started what we do now. That's just a fact. What we did as the Elite Edge is we took it to the next level. But, the reason why Larry is not accredited with having a registry, even though he had the BKC, is because it was considered to be a dog club, more so than a registry. He was doing his thing, and he was doing it on the purest level, man. He wasn't really out here trying to get rich or anything like that. The events that he was throwing, and the work that he was putting in, he just really loved the dogs. You know what I mean? Larry was a hell of a dude, man. I'm gonna be careful how I say the things, but honestly, if it was a casualty in building the American Bully community, it was Larry Durant. And like I say, when I tell y'all that shit about uh the big shows and everything like that, man, all those shows where you talking about Paco's first show with Nemesis and Little Ro was together. Look at the star power at these shows, man. I mean, at one of his shows, just one show, you had Blue Gangster, you had 21 Blackjack, you had Nemesis, you had Paco, you had Little Ro, you had Monster J, you had King Liger, you had King Lion, you had, I mean, the list goes on. I think, man, the list goes on. It just kept going. Remy, I mean, you name it, they were all in the house. This dude was putting down shows that was on the highest level that you could even imagine, man. He literally was having the people that you was watching on TV come and rep the American Bully. This was a dog show, man. This was 2,500 people. This was in the early 2000s. This dude was doing that shit. Packed house. I'm coming in from Ohio. You got people coming in from New York. You got people coming in from Virginia, California. I mean, excuse me, not California, Florida, Georgia, traveling all the way out to Cali just to be a part of Larry Durant's show. This was before ABKC. He put the American Bully on a pedestal and a platform to be talked about for years to come. And what unfortunately happened with Larry was an accident. Some of y'all have heard me talk about this before. But Larry used to transport dogs, right? And at this time, we was on the MSN boards. And, you know what I'm saying? We were on the MSN boards at that time. And, of course, you had the Elite Edge board. You had the Gray Line board, the Gotti Line board. Eventually, you had the Hall of Fame board. We had some boards, you know what I mean? And there was an accident with him transporting the dogs. And by this time, I'm telling you, it was just like an opening because for whatever reason, Dave was determined. He tried to copyright the name American Bully away from Larry. We starting our own thing. It started to be a thing of badmouth Larry. And at this time, being younger, I didn't really understand what was going on. But you know, I was a part of EE, so I was just going along with the flow. Like, okay, these dudes know each other or whatever. So what is being said about Larry must be the truth. It wasn't, man. As maybe some of it was, but it wasn't. You know, they wanted to get rid of Larry because they needed the American Bully name. They needed to, you know, when Dave was conning Ukanuba to tell Ukanuba that he started the American Bully, he wanted to be no proof or existence before that somebody else was doing something with the American Bully. Like I say, the name American Bully was coined by Larry before the ABKC even started using it. If y'all think I'm lying, look up the BKC shows back in the day. You will see that they predate even when the ABKC started. These things predate that shit. But to long story short, with Larry, what happened, and some of his good dogs, if y'all don't know, Boom Boom is one of my favorite. That's who Mandela looks like, and it's in his pedigree. He actually had his hand in Marco Suarez's boy Victorious. Larry knew how to breed. Larry had a yard full of beautiful, beautiful dogs, man. But in this transport, it was a situation where a lot of dogs overheated, you know, and I don't know what happened, if Larry panicked a little bit or what the situation was, but a lot of dogs died while he was transporting dogs for somebody, and it was an accident. Everybody knows it was an accident. They said the area that he went through was unbelievable heat, and it was ugly, you know, and you know he made some decisions in this process that probably weren't the best. He should have probably reported this right off top, but Larry, you know, decided that he was going to try to handle it himself, and how he came back on him, you know what I'm saying, with the police and different things of that nature. And I'm always a person that people make mistakes. We all make mistakes, but when a person makes a mistake and you know it wasn't malicious, and they just got in a situation, Larry loved dogs, man. So when you heard Dave especially. And I hate for Dave to be a topic of all other things, but this is what he did. You know, he took that opportunity to really put a sword through Larry's heart. You know, because he made it very, very clear that Larry, you know, didn't care about dogs. Why would you do that? Why would you do this? Why would you try to get rid of the dogs' bodies after they overheated while you was out on the road? Why would you try to do this? Why would you try to do that? Okay, we can all have our opinions about this situation, but that man was not trying to cause no harm. He used to transport dogs for all kind of people all across the country and was doing his thing and always cared about the dogs, always was a person who was trying to do something with the dogs. That was his thing, man. And to see his legacy be washed away because of somebody's greed and somebody not wanting to know the truth that you didn't start to breed, you know, years later it hits me and the whole thing was fucked up. Larry Durant was a solid dude, man. Larry Durant had a lot of good friends. Like I say, this dude didn't. You ain't have Caesar Milan showing up at a show because you wasn't a solid dude. You didn't have the whole West Coast. Y'all remember when they used to do the Pep My Ride? Literally every cast member in that bitch. I'm talking about every cast member, exhibit included, would show up at Larry Durant shows. Just like that. I always forget the name of the couple lady actresses, but when I tell you these is real actresses. These is legendary actresses. I forget their names though. I need to rehash and get that. They was coming up in there straight from Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Pulling up with bodyguards and Rolls Royces, multi-millionaire shit. You know what I mean? He had them at bully shows, representing with no BSL shirts on and shit like that. Had the community united. This is who Larry Durant was. Don't y'all let nobody tell you all that dumb shit when they want to try to shit on him and they want to try to talk crazy on about him. Before anybody cared about the American bully breed, Larry Durant was making that shit happen. He united the country. The EE didn't unite the country. We did not. Gotti Line did not unite the country. The EE, Gotti Line, and every fucking body else was at Larry Durant's show. We went to his house and we learned more about how to organize and how to make this community. So I know some people always say, why we always talk about the old stuff and this? Because it's respect. This community was created out of something that was supposed to be about the right thing. This community was created. All of them people was coming to those shows. The reason why they was coming to those shows is because they were coming to those shows to support not banning the pit bull and what would eventually turn into being the American bully breed. These were important people. Larry Durant is one of the very few people that I know that was having real high level politicians come to the show to see. You hear me? To see, look, we normal people that love our dogs. Now we got motherfuckers having Royal Rumbles and fighting at shows and beating up security guards and stabbing people and all that. But we don't want to act like nothing's changed. This man was bringing in real shit. He was bringing in, had Discovery Channel representatives coming to the shows. Yeah, we heard that this is not Animal Planet people. Yeah, we heard this. MTV. Yeah, we heard that. We were out here. We're out here. Not saying they film for shows, but you seen reps that was interested in our community because they was like, this is a fucking phenomenon. Larry did that. And what really happened, just keeping it real, was that opportunists saw that Larry opened up the door when he had that mishap. They saw that they could destroy this man's character, they could destroy this man's name, they could paint him as an animal abuser, they could paint him as somebody who didn't love these dogs, they could do all of this shit. You know what I mean? Just to gain control of a game that they never had good intentions for. Like I told y'all, when I owned a part of the ABKC, when we started the ABKC as a group, the ABKC was meant to, the portions of money that was coming in was meant to go to lawyers and stuff to make sure that our dogs stayed on point and that we could fight BSL and we could win. That's what it was started for. Not $1 has ever went to fighting BSL. And all these years that y'all send in registrations and everything else, not $1 has ever went to fight BSL and to fight for this breed, and not $1 has ever went into the testing for the animals to be more healthy and to find ways to uplift the breed. These were the things that we weren't even supposed to collect no money. That's why when y'all ask me, how could y'all own something and why would y'all just walk away and this, that, and the other? The reason we could walk away is because we never fucking did it for money. If you ask me, would I want to own a portion of the ABKC today? Absolutely not. All money ain't good money. All money ain't good money. At some point, you got to have something in you that can't be bought. Larry, the reason why I might be even getting a little bit upset about it, but the reason why I got mad love for Larry Durant because he was one of us. He actually gave a damn about these dogs. That man wasn't no super rich man or nothing. But imagine being this, you know what I'm saying, this older brother, and you out here, you know what I'm saying, going to, you know what I'm saying, Hollywood, calling these Hollywood ass people and trying to get them to come to a building and a building full of pit bulls that they seeing on the news and they saying it's bad and they saying it is this. Imagine how much this man had to talk to say, hey, now Caesar, of course, Caesar is Caesar. He a pit bull guy. But you know what I'm saying, when you got MTV coming up in there to check you out, and you know what I'm saying, and when you got, like I say, the Animal Planet, and you got these people coming in from Hollywood, and you got, you know what I'm saying, athletes and all these people who their agents is telling them stay the fuck away from them dogs, stay the fuck away from them people. And he talked them into coming in there and saying, we gonna fight against BSL and we gonna push our breed. He talked them into that. He wasn't getting rich off this shit. He talked them into that. He was spending more money than he was ever making. If you ever went to one of his shows and you seen the setup and you seen how much he put into it and you seen how little he was charging at the door, he was doing that from his heart. I respect that shit. All I ever heard from that man is how much he loved the breed. All I ever heard from that man is he didn't want popularity. He didn't want to be the big dog on campus. What's going on, Anthony? He didn't want to be the big dog on campus. He didn't want none of that shit. He wanted the American bully to be with. Hey, I was speaking about one of your West Coast legends out there, Larry Durant. But he wanted the American Bully slash Pitbull back in that day to be what it was. I'm gonna answer that question in 1 second. As we bring this show to a close. But man, I wish I think it's best that we talked about everything else more today because I probably would have got indignant if I kept on thinking about how they did Larry. If it went over your head, like I said, he was transporting some dogs. The dogs overheated. He decided to, like I said, get rid of the dogs himself after they had died and everything, and got caught up in the shit. And they painted him as a person that he wasn't. You know what I mean? They painted him as a person that he wasn't. They erased all the good that man did, and that man did a lot of good for this community. The reason why y'all know about American Bullies today is because of that man. The reason that, what I'm saying, the reason why we sitting here and y'all talking to me today is probably because of that man. Because that man really put this shit on his back and he cared about it. It's sad to see how they erased his history. It's sad to see how, other people is getting to talk about everything else, you know what I mean, and act as if they did so much, you know. But the truth of the matter is, and even myself, yes, I am one of the quote unquote creators in this shit. But the truth of the matter is that the work that, what I'm saying, that I did is attributed to what Larry did. It was bouncing off of what he did and really finishing what he did. That was our contribution. We finished what he started, but he started it, and I don't have no problem saying that. I don't need all the pats on the backs and all the congratulations and you're a great person and this, that, and the other. I don't need that. I got to give love and respect to where it's respected at, and it really does hurt me, man. You know what I'm saying? If I ain't have on these glasses, y'all probably see that. You know what I'm saying? I really, I'm fucked up under here because that shit hurt me, man. Because that man really cared. Anytime that I see a person coming from a good place and giving a part of themselves just out of passion and out of being a good person, to see them get fucked over like he got fucked over, man, that's some ugly shit, man. And if I was smarter when I was younger, I would have noticed that I was in a very cutthroat game right off top, you know. Instead of thinking people was your friends because you got a lot of money, which that's what they, basically with me, I could drop $30,000, $40,000 like it wasn't shit, So I turned into the funding that Larry was doing before. That's how I know how much these shows cost. Well, it used to cost back then. Renting out convention centers, paying for all the security, paying for the insurances, paying for this, paying for that. I knew what now. Afterwards, I know what Larry was paying, but I was doing it from my heart. That's why I ain't bitter about the money I spent or nothing like that. Shit, the American Bully survives, even if it's in bad condition. It survives. But people deserve their respect. So if y'all don't know nothing else, y'all know the truth today that the ABKC is not the very first of anything. Larry Durant had shit jumping on the West Coast for years before that. Larry Durant, I wish thing would have worked and not the ABKC because he was really, really, really about the right thing, about bringing the community together, strictly about dogs. He was really, really a good ass dude, man. You know what I mean? And it was, it's amazing. It's amazing. Now, before I go, somebody, I think that was Beth, said Bossy Kennels. I tell you what, I think Bossy Kennels, no shade to them. I love that one female that they have, the ripped up girl. But they're a for profit kennel. I think at any point in time, I don't think that I haven't heard anything bad about them, but I think that they're a business. They don't respect the rules exactly of the breed or whatever. They've been doing Merles, even when the ABKC was saying that Merles weren't allowed. They do designer dogs. So I don't really think, I think more so not even to look at them as an American Bully breeder, but what's going on, GMB? But to look at Bossy Kennels more as a business. And it's not, like I say, it's not to throw shade at them or anything like that, but in order for you to call yourself an American Bully breeder, it seemed like that you would follow American Bully rules. And what they do is more for, buyers. They don't care too much about shows or anything. They never have. But they do have some pretty dogs in a lot of cases. But as far as them being an American Bully kennel, I don't think that they're an American Bully kennel. They're just a very very good for-profit kennel. And I know that might sound harsh in a way because I really do like a lot of their dogs. But I feel that way. Now let me clarify this. I feel that way about Bashar. It's some of Bashar's dogs at Muscle Tone that I've seen that I've liked the dog, but it's not conducive to what is supposed to be an American Bully and doing things the right way. You know what I mean? So you're not really an American Bully kennel, and he just let it be known that, hey, I'm here for profit. Now, I'm not saying that they would treat their dogs the way that he treats his dogs. Their dogs all look in good condition and everything like that. But in this world, you are going to have strictly for profit kennels sometimes, and that's what Bossy Kennels is about. Great advertisement, flashy colors. They do what they have to do to sell dogs, and there's nothing wrong with that if the dogs are healthy with good temperament. I don't think that they ever really try to push themselves as a show kennel, and what they're doing. If I'm mistaken, you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, man, it's just you know what I mean. It is what it is. And there's one more cat. Who is the biggest crooks? I mean, honestly, I look at it like this, man. When you talk about crooks, man, it's a lot of them. You know what I mean? I think the whole game. I think you have buyers that are crooks. I think you have sellers that are crooks. I think you have a lot of crooks across the board, and all we really have to go off of is a person's words. I personally myself have been in situations where I have people make up stories like, and say that I sold them a dog and never even met this person. You know what I mean? I have other people who, what I mean, uh, have, totally took a deposit, well, not a deposit, but a full payment for one of my dogs. And they weren't even the sellers putting up fake pictures of dogs. It's so many schemes and so many games in this, and then there's so much confusion because this dog world is not all run off of patience. I feel like anybody who won't stand behind what they're talking about and won't represent their product, is a crook. Whether that's health, whether that's giving back money, whether that's this, whether that's that. You know what I mean? The health part of it, you know what I mean? The contracts, which y'all agreed to, following through with it, that all of that's part of the game. But this thing has become so commercialized and it's so wide open that, you know what I mean? It depends on your definition of a crook. Is the definition of a crook selling people bad dogs? And you know what I'm saying? It's rough to try to label anybody this because, you know what I mean? I see people who be like, oh, he did great business, and they sitting there holding a puppy that you can see the puppy's dying in front of them. They don't even know it. Yeah, I paid $10,000. He was right on point. He had my papers in hand. Everything was on point, but he sold you a fucked up dog. Is he a crook? You know, this American Bully world is a crook world. You know what I'm saying? This is crook land. Remember that movie Crook Land? This is crook land. And it's sad that it's gotten this way. But when you put, when you take a street mentality and you put it to dogs, and where it's a lot of revenue flowing around, and you're gonna have a lot of people who willing to do bad things. You know what I mean? We've seen people, you know what I mean, kill people's dogs. They killed some of our dogs. They killed Paco. You know, that's crook shit. You know, it's messed up. I hope the game change. I hope people get back to being just about dogs, man. And we'll see how it goes, man. But next week we talk about breaking down some of the old dogs. We're gonna go from new to old to all of that, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like my thing with putting a name on it is this is where I'm different. Before I hang up, I'll tell y'all why I don't like to shout out people's shit about business. And this is why I do that. Because it ain't my business. You know what I mean? And I've seen too many situations where people claim that they got robbed and they was really the one doing the robbing. I've seen people make up and fabricate stories, you know what I'm saying, and they was the one doing the fucking over of people. As a man, I don't like to get in any other man's business as far as the financial stuff goes, because you never know how those deals go. Like for years, I respected Dave, and I thought that Dave was always the victim when Dave was always the one robbing people in actuality. So what we do now in this society, it's a different society than the old school back in the day where men would handle their own business and walk and stand on their own too. Now we go to social media and we try to shame people, or we try to get people, as Dave Chappelle said, canceled. And we can make up stories and we can say anything, because if you say something bad about somebody, a person is more, more apt to go and repeat the bad information about somebody than they are the good information. That's why the internet is full of bad stories. So if you want to kill somebody's character, all you got to do is make up the story. It don't have to be true at all. You know what I mean? They can make you whatever they want to make you, and they can do that. And I've noticed that in the bully world, when people don't get their way, they'll start talking about robberies. They'll start talking about bad business. They'll start talking about this, and then you come to find out that they was the ones who was breaking agreements and breaking contracts and all that. But they was hoping that the pressure of the community would make this person fold to their, you know what I'm saying, indignified wants. So it's ugly, man. But what I tell y'all to do is really, just steer clear of a lot of people, man. Try to do the best you can, and most importantly, have patience, man. The worst thing about the American bully community right now is everybody. We live in a microwave society. I want it right now. You know what I mean? I want it right now. If y'all don't know, I train a little bit. I do jujitsu also, but you know what I mean? You can't be in a rush. That's one thing that I'm learning with the patience thing, is you can't be in a rush, man. Even in jiu-jitsu, I'm learning I'm relearning some stuff because I stopped for a couple of years. But, it's all patience. It's all perfecting the game every way. Even in your business, perfecting how you deal with people so that you can avoid whatever they might even try to do to you. You know, uh, but don't be in such a rush, man. When you pick out your dogs, don't be in such a rush. Don't say that I gotta have this dog by this time. It's better to wait. Right now, I'm waiting on my Doberman. I've been waiting on my Doberman for 18 months. 18 months, but I'm finally about to get it. Poop dog gonna be going crazy here in a minute. But you know what I'm saying? You have to mess around, and you have to, you know what I mean, do the right thing and just have some patience. Currently what's going on, and I did a video and y'all see that, but currently what's going on is I seen a lady really get dogged about some paperwork. And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. You gotta be patient with that shit. The UKC has put up a memo that they're struggling, and they're catching up on things, but they are behind on some things, and whatever, for whatever the situations is. The ABKC has done the same thing and said that they've got a couple issues. I got a friend of mine who was on there, you know what I'm saying, who I actually had to try to help him out with that situation. But you know what I mean? It was just miscommunication inside the office, and his paperwork got held up 4 months. But I see, this lady, I seen people, calling her bitches and doing this and doing that, to the point where the woman wanted to actually leave the game because these people is tripping about paperwork. And I'm just telling you, like, I understand, because we all want our paperwork. Literally, I just got a paperwork on a dog that I own, that we was a co-own deal, and she's like 16 months. And I ain't tripped. It is what it is. But, if you know the paperwork is coming, or whatever the case may be, or if you know your puppy is coming, man, have some patience, man. I see so many dumbass arguments where people just like, oh, I want my shit right now. You know what I'm saying? People got a dog in 2 days. And 2 days later, they screaming, "Oh, I ain't even get my fucking paperwork because this, that, and the other." You know what I'm saying? Then they call the registries, and the registry's like, "Oh, I don't know what's this and that and the other." Of course, the registry's gonna tell you they don't know what's going on, because first of all, it ain't your litter, and that's just a nice way of telling you, stay the fuck out these people's business. Pretty much, it's not your litter. Do you want us to email it to the paperwork where the paperwork came from? Because these are legally binding contracts. A lot of y'all ain't even figured that out. That a lot of times the registries blow y'all off because they just don't want to tell y'all. They get so many calls about people complaining because stuff is not fast enough all day, every day, that they get tired of dealing with y'all. So they don't even want to talk to y'all. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, most people can't even read a pedigree. You know what I mean? They so in a rush to get a hold of some paperwork because all they thinking about is breeding. You ain't even letting the dog grow. Let the fucking dog grow. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean that's normal, man. I get paperwork late in hell, late in hell. You know what I mean? Late as hell. I'll let you know that. I think that's Miss Gonzalez. If that's Mr. Gonzalez, I'm sorry, but I think that's Miss Gonzalez. I'll have that up this week. I'm finishing that up finally, and y'all will be able to do all your TBKC stuff. I'll probably even do a video with me actually printing out some paperwork, and we have shows. We have shows that are be coming to Jersey. We have shows all over the Houston area. We have shows coming to Lakeland, Florida, Canton, Ohio. We'll also be coming to Chi-Town. So we're starting to move. After this video, whenever I can get some chance in the office, we're going to try to lock down another Rhode Island show. So we're at it. We're working, and it's been a blessing. I thank y'all for y'all patience on that. There go the word again, patience. But y'all do have patience, man. It's not that serious. Enjoy your fucking dogs, man. Some of y'all literally go crazy about this shit. And it's just crazy, man. Y'all gotta enjoy your dogs. Take time to one of the things that I do, and I know I'm talking well over time, but I Google a lot of stuff. I Google medical conditions, which I was a med student, but I Google medical conditions, home remedies. I Google stuff about genetics. You know what I'm saying? I find good articles from different universities and different geneticists. I study cow genetics. I study horse genetics. You know what I mean? Now I'm starting to try to get into a little bit of the giraffe genetics too. I mean, I'm just interested in animals. I'm interested in the process. If you call yourself breeding, you should know these things. Even if you're a breeder, you should know the anatomy of the dog very well. I know a lot of people who have the dogs, and it's not to take a shot at anybody, but these are things sometimes where we refocus our mind and we learn our game. Is that start studying the pedigrees and asking the questions about your own dog's pedigrees and find out the flaws of your parents and the pedigrees. uh, you know, Also find out and understand the anatomy of the dog to understand the way that everything works, the ligaments, the bones, the muscles. These are all things that, you know what I'm saying, that I can never find good books. I find good articles. That's why I Google everything. But it is a book. I forget the name of that book. It's not even. It's more about dog behavior, but it's about. I remember it. It's these monks. It's a book about monks that raise these German shepherds. I got that book actually. I just forget the name of it. I'll put it up here next week. But that's a very good book. A must read. A lot of OG dog men have that book. But man, y'all, man, y'all have yourself a great weekend. As I always say, I was supposed to say that if you want to make a donation to the show or whatever the stuff is, as we try to get us a little studio and make this shit better. Actually, look, I'm all excited and shit, but I actually might have some fucking internet that work. You know what I'm saying? I got a hookup. T-Mobile talking about they're bringing the 5G to my house, so we're gonna see how that shit go. I might be at the house. I might be able to do my little studio with my microphone and all that. But like I said, if y'all want to make a donation on Cash App, it's TBKC Dogs. But I appreciate y'all time. If y'all don't do nothing else, put a like and a subscribe to the page. You know what I mean? And Staffy or the tech. Here we go. I'm taking the Staffy. But like I say, next week we'll be talking about breaking down dogs, and we'll try to give as much information as we can, man, and just keep this going weekly. We working things out with the podcast. It's just one little thing that has to be worked out, and then y'all start seeing me go. Brandon, crazy. Y'all start seeing me bringing people in, and we'll do that show. The radio show is canceled. We're not going to do that. We're going to do the podcast because it's better, and we can get Mahalo. Man, I always love when I get messages from her because it's always positive. Y'all end up meeting my folks from Hawaii very soon, but they're trying to build something nice. But it's always positive. Positive people is great, man. But I tell you what, God bless y'all. Y'all have y'all a good weekend. There'll be some more informational videos that'll be on this page. If you are a part of the program, you've got, like I say, 14 to 15 videos that'll be coming this evening, and then we'll be sort of caught up. And if you want to be a part of the program, hit me up on tbkcdogs at gmail or Hall of Fame Bullies on Facebook, True American Bullies on Instagram, or 727-744-0963. We trying to get back at it. We trying to get all the loose ends tied up. I can't tell y'all enough that I thank y'all for just giving me y'all time. These shows help me out a lot, man. I like to talk to y'all. I felt a little bit lost not talking to my dog people sometimes, so I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good weekend, and make sure, as I always say, you eat good, drink good, and if somebody gonna give you something, you make sure you do that good too. Until next time, y'all. God bless. Much love.